Donald Cerrone and Jim Miller currently hold the record for the most fights in UFC history with 35. Miller did it in under 12 years, and Cerrone did it in just over 9 years. BJ Penn fought at UFC 37, UFC 137, and UFC 237. To give an idea of how experienced Jake Shields is in his MMA career, in the early 2000s he fought Ray Cooper 2 times, and then in 2018 he also fought his son 2 times. Alistair Overeem and Alexei Oleinik have won fights in all of the past 4 decades, and they are still currently ranked in the UFC heavyweight division. Bryce Mitchell versus Charles Rosa was one of the most lopsided decisions this year. Bryce won 30-25, 30-25, and 30-24. That last judge gave Bryce a 10-8 in every round. In 2011, the UFC had a panel of all their champions. Out of the 7 fighters, only 1 currently remains a champ. Only John Jones currently holds a belt in the UFC. Tito Ortiz and Chuck Liddell had 3 fights over the span of 14 years. Shogun and Nogueira will have their trilogy this summer, which will be 3 fights over the span of 15 years. Jorge Masvidal has had 4 split decisions in his UFC career, and he lost all 4 of those split decisions to Maia, Larkin, Henderson, and Iaquinta. In 2017, Josh Emmett scored an amazing 4 knockdowns in a single round versus Felipe Orantes, which caused one of the judges to give an extremely rare 10-7 score for that round. Renan Barão was on a 32-fight unbeaten streak, and Dana White once called him the best pound-for-pound fighter in the world, and the closest thing to Mayweather in the sport. But after losing to end that streak, he was never the same. He's lost 8 of his last 10. Cyborg and Eddie Alvarez hold the prestigious honor of winning a Bellator belt and also a championship in the Ultimate Fighting Championship. The average fight time for Francis Ngannou's last 4 fights is 40 seconds. In his last fight, he knocked out Jairzinho Rozenstruik in 20 seconds. Jose Aldo is 4 years younger than Francis Ngannou. They were both born in September 1986, but Aldo has been fighting 9 years longer than Francis. John Jones' decision victory over Alexander Gustafsson was scored exactly the same as Jones' decision over Dominic Reyes. In both fights, one judge gave Jones rounds 2, 3, and 5. Another judge gave Jones the last 3 rounds in both fights. And the third judge in both fights gave Jones the last 4 rounds. Fighters who have missed weight in 2 weight classes in the UFC include Anthony Johnson, Johnny Hendricks, John Lineker, and Ray Borg.
He actually admitted to accepting a accepting a bribe, agreeing to throw the fight. And, you know, at the last minute, he decided that he kind of changed his mind because the UFC knew the gig was up, because I didn't know how betting lines work and things like that, but we had the single largest overnight odds swing in UFC history was from a fight I was involved in, because the betting line is partially based on bets that come in. And the night before our fight, $1 million came in on me to win. A little more than $1 million US came in on me to win. And it was a Korean organized criminal element that put in the bet, and also Bong put in some of his own money too, that he had said that the Korean organized crime gave him. I think $100,000 they gave him. And then he put 50,000 of it down on the fight for him to lose. And then there was another $1 million on the fight for him to lose. And the UFC knew the gig was up. They came and talked to me as I'm getting my hands taped before the fight. You know what I mean? And then right after me, they said, we're going to talk to him next. So at that point, the gig was up. And, you know, then he eventually confessed to the Korean authorities because he was, you know, scared for his life. He was getting death threats like that. So months in Korean prison. Well, he did 10 months. I think he's out now.
That was a cluster. 3 days before the event goes off, they come and tell us that we can't strike. Like, we would get arrested if we strike. It's illegal now. And I was like, bad timing for me, right? Because that really, because of where I was at in my physical fitness at that time, whereas I couldn't really roll that much because of my ribs and my knee. The nose was fine. I mean, it was broke, but I would have been fine with that. But because of the knee and the rib, it hindered me in rolling in and out of stuff. So I figured I'd just knock them out. Well, when they took the punches away, it literally handcuffed me. It was like I didn't have any option. Well, they told us, hey, no problem. Go ahead and punch, and then we'll find you at a later date. Like we won't. But I thought to myself, I'm going to enter into a fight. We have rules and regulations, and you're telling me I'm going to break them. And I'm like, I ain't doing that. I'm not doing that. I said, I have kids that I represent at a group home. I tell them you can achieve anything you want in this life as long as you play within the rules. And now I'm being asked to challenge those rules, asked to be challenging what I believe in. And so I said, you know what? I'm not striking. I almost wasn't going to fight. But I was talked into it, saying that everything rode on me being in there and fighting. Everybody came to see that fight. And so I said, all right, I'll do it, but I'm not going to punch. And so that, I think that was the fight that really, in my opinion, was the worst fight in UFC history. It was horrible.